Welcome back to the Bad Influence Podcast with me, your host, yours truly, Jordan Banderas. Don't forget to hit that follow, subscribe button so you never miss out on our deep dives into real shit. On today's episode, I want to share this interaction that I had with a coworker of mine and how this opened my eyes and my mind to all this fucking division that we are seeing in the country. We're tearing into how I learned that the word woke has evolved from a badge of awareness to a fucking bullet in the culture wars. From its roots in vigilance against social injustice to becoming a dirty word in political mudslinging. We're peeling back the layers of this loaded term. So here's what happened. A few weeks ago, I was at work talking to my coworkers, just, chit-chatting. I was telling them about the new X-Men 97 series, which is a great show. When suddenly this guy, let's call him Eric, comes out of nowhere and says, "I can't believe you watched that woke shit." At first I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was surprised. I was actually fucking surprised about this. Because I was like, why would you say that? Like, I guess a lot of people think the show is too woke. So you might call it woke, but I call it my childhood. So fuck you. But anyway, when he said that, I wanted to tear him to pieces. I wanted to destroy him. But then I remember what my social media bio says. And it says, I value diverse perspectives and I'm open to learning from them. So I decided to do just that. I was like, you know what? Maybe I can learn something from him because this is very interesting. It was interesting to me, at least. And here's the thing. This guy is new, so I didn't really know him. He had just started a few days before. And I asked him, where are you from, homie? Like getting ready to see where this goes. I asked him that question. He said, Monroe, Utah. I was like, oh, that explains a lot, since it's a very small farming town. It's a very tight-knit community. It's very conservative, so that's where he got this idea from, right? That woke is bad, or whatever they tell them. Now, driven by my fucking curiosity, I asked him if he knew what the word woke actually meant. This was his response. These are his words, literally. This is exactly what he said. He said, it's liberal agenda bullshit that is trying to destroy American core values. That's right. I was as surprised as you. When he said that, I don't know what took over me. But without hesitation, I asked him if he used social media to find out the meaning of the word, right? He said no. He's like, no. Then my next question was, how old are you? He's 22. I told him, dude, you need to get on the internet and find out the truth about a lot of fucking things. This is just to help you out. And he goes, oh yeah, like what? Well, since he asked, I suggested, how about the real meaning of the word woke? He was all like, no, I know what he means. You can't change my mind. All that bullshit. So I just said to him, if you're going to work with us, I think it will be better if you knew the real meaning of the word, because someone else might not like what you say about them if you think they're too woke for you. And it's going to cause a lot of issues. We have a good vibe at work, so why let someone's ideology cause issues, right? It's like, why do that? Why allow that to happen? Yeah, it's your ideology, it's not mine. If we're going to work together, there has to be some middle ground. Like you keep your ideology, I keep mine. Let's work and get the job done. That's why it fucking matters, right? especially if you want to get paid or if you want to be able to keep your job. So anyway, after some back and forth, he goes on his phone and looks up the definition of woke. He kept staring at his phone like a deer caught in headlights. He was all like, I was like, oh shit, what's wrong? He goes, I don't know if this is correct. So I asked him, why not? Because at this point, I'm curious. He just said, well, my parents and everyone I grew up with told me something completely different about the meaning of this word. They told me it was bad, that it was it was going to destroy America, all this, right? And because of what he said, I asked him, and I said to him, how can you criticize something when you have never watched the show or even looked up the definition of that word that they're telling you, right? Like in this situation, the word woke. And doing that makes you look close-minded and fucking dumb. Because, for example, I have looked up the definition of the word woke. So when he said that about the show, I was like, I don't think you know what it means. So that's why I asked him to look it up, because I knew he didn't know what that word meant. And because of this new realization, he was all confused. As if he had discovered he was lied to, which in a way he was. And I know that face too well because it goes in different phases. It goes, and then he turns to anger, like, I've been lied to, you know? I know that face too well. That has happened to me. And when I saw his face, my horns were starting to grow like Hellboys. I was like, no, get back in. So I began to think about what I should do with him. And the only answer in my mind was to be a bad influence on him. That's pretty much what I've been called my entire life, a bad influence. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. And you bet your ass that's exactly what I did. Because I told him, you should watch the original X-Men series on Disney+. He looked me straight in the fucking eyes and said, I don't even have a social media account. In my head, after he said that, I was like, oh my God. I have heard about people like this, but I have never met someone like this in real life. This was a wild encounter. It was crazy. I was like, you don't have social media and you're 22? I'm like, dude, you have to catch up on life. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to open his mind to a completely different world. A world where you can see things differently, think outside the box, think for yourself, all that stuff, all the good stuff. So because of this, I told him, I'm going to do you a big favor. I'm going to be good. I'm going to be the bad influence. And I'm going to share my account with you before Disney decides to crack down on that shit, right? So he downloaded the app on his phone. I logged in and I put on the show. He then went to his office. A few weeks passed, and honestly, I had forgotten about this whole fucking interaction because a lot of shit goes throughout my day, so I honestly forgot. One day, Eric sees me and says, hey, I watched the old X-Men series and the new one. I was surprised. I didn't think he was going to do that. So I just asked him, and what do you think? These are his words, not mine. This is exactly what he said. He said, this isn't woke at all, like others have said online. I was just like, right? But I had rubbed off on him because he goes, well, you're an immigrant, right? I go, yes, but where is this going? Where are you taking this, right? Because I was like, I don't know what he's going to say. And then all of a sudden he goes, I guess you know what it feels like hiding in the shadows and being different and not being accepted. At first I was like, ooh. And then I was just like, you motherfucker, you are so correct. Because that's exactly how I felt growing up after I moved to the States. And then I told him what Disney movies and shows he should watch, like Home Improvement and other shows. He is fucking loving it, and he's more open-minded after this. You know, he's more woke, I guess. He understands things a little bit different. Now, when he talks to us, he's not trying to put us down because we're immigrants, or because we're different than him. He actually is understanding. And it's nice to see that, because that's how we move forward as a society, by understanding that everyone's different. But this whole interaction made me fucking realize how the word woke and others have become weapons in the so-called culture wars, championed by some for justice and bastardized by others like Ron DeSantis, who uses it as a slur against progressives shaking up the status quo. Or am I wrong? Now, if you look at how he uses the word, he uses it as a slur, as if it's the most negative thing in the world. Like, it's coming for you and it's going to destroy you. That's how he uses that word. And the word woke used to be a beacon in the civil rights fight. You have to remember that. It was used to literally scream for eyes to open against systemic oppression. And I don't see anything wrong with acknowledging systemic oppression, as it exists in many aspects of our society, including the fucking healthcare system. Because the healthcare system, and you're going to start seeing this probably pretty soon, or you're going through it, or it's going to happen in the next few years, where you're going to open your mind and be like, shit, this is systemic oppression, because the healthcare system doesn't give a fuck now about the color of your skin. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, brown, Asian, whatever. All they care about is money. Profit. It's not race anymore. It's more about financial status and access to good insurance. If you don't have good insurance, they literally look at you and then they try to kick you out right away. If you have good insurance, they keep you in the hospital or do all these tests that the insurance will cover, because they want to get as much money as they can. And same thing if you're not able to pay with cash. If you don't have insurance, they look at you and they're like, oh, you have money to pay for it? It's like, yeah, okay, we're going to do this. And if you say no, they're like, okay, well, we're just going to do this, and then you're going to be good. You're going to be good, you're going to leave, okay? That is, and that can turn into the worst kind of systemic oppression there's going to be, because it's going to affect everyone. Everyone will feel that type of oppression in the healthcare system, because they're not going to be able to get the right healthcare. They're not going to be able to get better. They're not going to be able to get the medications they need or see the doctors that they need. And unfortunately, those who speak out against this type of issues, not just in the healthcare system, it could be the prison system, the political system, any type of system that helps society grow. Anybody that talks about issues on that system often gets dismissed as woke, which is bad for everyone, because it takes the attention away from the real problem. Like, if I'm telling someone, hey, the healthcare system is doing this, and it sucks because of this. There's too much greed. There's too much capitalism into it, that it's making it more for profit than for the patient. They look at me like, oh, you're too woke. And it's like, look at the fucking issue. Look at the fucking issue. That's what's happening. And here's the fucking truth. Social media has fucked up the term woke, because it started strong, a rallying cry against racial inequality and racial bullshit and racism when all the George Floyd killings happened. But now it's slapped on every societal hiccup. It has been watered down to hell. And what's worse is that right-wingers are wielding woke like a goddamn weapon against anything that smells like progress. You can have movies with a strong lead that it's a female. You can have books that talks about rights, womanhood, manhood, all of these books, or even books that show the Holocaust, racism, slavery, historical books, science fiction, TV shows, and music. And now, people are looking in our past. They're looking at songs from years ago, books from years ago, movies from years ago. And they're tagging them as woke. And when you tag anything as woke, chaos unfold. You say something about that show, let's say Home Improvement, right? I love that show. I grew up watching that show because of the jokes that it says, because of what they do, because of how they divide, certain things in the household, shit like that. If somebody says, oh, that show is too woke because the wife in that case speaks out against the husband, let's just say that like that, then it's woke. And then people are going to be like, oh, it needs to be canceled. That's the chaos I'm talking about. Or am I wrong? People are looking for things to cancel because they put the label woke on it. And the problem with this is that politicians, those motherfuckers, are eating this shit up. They're scaring people about the woke agenda like it's the end of the fucking times for their precious status quo. And all this hysteria they're whipping up, it's smothering real activism. Turning point calls for change into eye-roll moments by tagging every damn thing as woke, liberal, Democrat, or even it happens on the other side, right-winger, extremist, all this shit. You can call it Republican, you can call it like CPAC, all of these loaded terms are turning into labels to cancel stuff. And don't get me started on the mainstream and alternative media. Those drama-loving vultures are making a killing by spinning woke into some kind of demon. It's bearing its original battle cry for justice under layers of bullshit. And in my opinion, my humble opinion, here's what you have to do to stop the division. For one, and pay attention to this, challenge this bullshit. You have to challenge all this fucking bullshit. Because if someone throws woke or any other loaded term at you, ask them, what the fuck does that even mean? You don't have to use fuck. You can just say, what does that even mean, right? And if they can't tell you, pull out your phone and look it up together. Get on the same page about what these words signify. Don't just get offended if somebody calls you woke or somebody calls you right-winger or anything like that. Don't just get offended. Look up the word. Because like I mentioned, all of these words, all of these labels, all of these loaded terms have been watered down that it can mean so many different things. So we don't understand the context of what the person is using that word for, and it's causing a lot of problems. Because let's be honest, and this is something that we also have to pay attention. The fuckers screaming about woke, crushing free speech are often the same bastards turning down the volume on voices they can't stand to hear. That's right. And this happens on the left or the right. It happens all the time with everyone. So you have to start listening for real. Digging into the complex truths behind the simple lies they're selling us. They're using big words. They're trying to sound smart by using woke on everything, by using right-winger on everything, by using this bunch of loaded terms, and literally making you mad for something that you may not understand the meaning of. right? This is exactly what's happening. So what you need to do is that you need to wake the fuck up and question everything. That's how you stop letting these words shoot you down and start making them work for you again. Right? Because at one point or another, the way that this is going to go, the way that I see it, because I saw this in Mexico growing up in politics down there, they're going to try to make everyone yell on top of each other. Like, like shut everybody out. Nobody's going to be able to be heard by using these words, by using these loaded terms. They do that. So what we need to do is that all of us, we need to get back to the roots of the word. Back to what really matters. Back to how it really started. Because this isn't about racism as much as people wanted it to be. This is about systemic discrimination. Systemic discrimination, because you may not see it, but there are so many systems that take advantage of people because they're poor. Because they don't have the money to pay for bails, like the prison system. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, brown, anything. If you don't have money to pay for a bail, you're going to go inside. The same thing happens with the healthcare system, like I mentioned in those examples. There are so many systems that cause this fucking discrimination. But politicians are not doing anything to fix it. And when someone complains about it, hey, look, I've lived this with my wife. My wife is white and she's not getting the treatment that she deserves because we don't have the money for it. But we have insurance and our insurance fucking sucks. So we're not getting any treatments that she actually needs that will actually help her get better. That to me is discrimination, because guess what? Just because we can't afford it and our insurance declines us every time we try to get that treatment, that is discrimination for being poor. That is discrimination. But when I bring it up, people have called me woke because I do that. And that's not how we should be. I'm bringing something to your attention because at one fucking point or another in your life, you or someone you care about is going to go through that. And then you're going to be all like, oh shit. Maybe those people that complain about the healthcare system or about the prison system, political system, all this system about oppression were right. And it might be too fucking late to do something. And that's it for today. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. Keep an open mind and engage in respectful discussions in the comments below. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button to stay tuned for more content. Do you have a story, a question, or just need to vent? You know where to find me. Share your journey and let's navigate this wild ride together. Until next time, stay connected, stay badass, and remember, the world needs your unique brand of badassery. And here are my final thoughts. Question everything if you need help understanding what is being said. And have a great day.